Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Transformers Robots in Disguise review for you today. This is BlastWave, Warrior Class BlastWave. As you can see, he is an Autobot, and he is kind of a retool slash repaint of the Megatronus figure that came out about a year ago. Here is the tank alt mode, as you can see down here. Some cool art up here, but you'll notice that the head sculpt in the picture is vastly different from the head sculpt that you actually get on the toy. The coloring's kind of different as well. Not completely different, but slightly different. Take a look at the back. Robot mode, alt mode, instructions for transformation. Pretty much all that's going on back here. So let's go ahead, we'll get BlastWave out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here's BlastWave out of the packaging. And first thing off, I really do like the color scheme. I think that's pretty neat. It's kind of a foresty green or jungle green, with a kind of darker chartreuse blue. I like the colors a lot. Taking a close look at the head sculpt, it's pretty clear that this is going to be repainted as Bludgeon, which I think we've already seen test photos for. He's got kind of the same kind of color green, but then kind of an orange where the blue should be, because that's kind of Bludgeon's traditional colors. But I really do like the head sculpt. It's definitely kind of like a scary skull type mask with nice red eyes. And I will say it kind of makes him look more like a Decepticon than an Autobot. As you can see there, there's the symbol or the sticker you can scan for the app game. So it kind of threw me off guard when he was an Autobot instead of a Decepticon, but I still think he's really neat. Articulation-wise, the head can swivel from side to side. If you open up the chest, you can see that there's a ball joint here and here for the shoulder. So that can move around and then forward and back. The shoulder pads get in the way a little bit, but you can rotate them so they don't. Like you can see, you can just kind of click it once and then it's a little bit better out of the way. It's funny, the joint on this arm, you can hear is kind of real tight. Whereas on this arm, it's not bad, but it doesn't sound as tight. I don't think anything's broken. It's just, I don't know, the one ratchet's a little bit tighter and louder than the other. But you also get bicep swivel right here. Then you have pretty much 90 degrees in the elbow. The wrists don't move at all because the forearms and the wrists are all one solid piece. You have movement here in the waist, as well as a ball joint in the hip, and then a thigh swivel, and then pretty much 90 degrees in the knee. And then again, the leg and ankle and everything are one solid piece, so no movement there. But a decent amount of articulation. I think it works. I like the look of the two cannons on the back. This butt skirt is kind of ridiculously giant in my opinion, but this really comes into play more in the tank mode. Even this symbol right here kind of looks like the top of the Decepticon symbol, so it's kind of weird that this guy turns out to be an Autobot. But yeah, so he's got a kind of big butt flap, but it doesn't get in the way, and he looks good from the front. He does come with this one accessory of this nicely painted katana. I love that this is silver and this is green instead of all being one color. Slides fairly decently into his hand. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but you can get it in there. And he looks good wielding it. I definitely like that a lot. Since it has a giant peg hole on the side, or giant peg on the side, I would have loved if there was some way to attach it to his waist. You know, maybe something like this. Or attach it to the back, something like that. I understand that right here and right here the plastic's not really wide enough to drill a hole for this size peg. But I mean, they could have made the peg a little smaller maybe or something. I guess you could kind of attach it here to the side of his leg. That doesn't look too bad. And then you could kind of rest his hand on it. That actually looks kind of cool. I kind of like that a lot. Might do that. Yeah, so that's not bad. Like I said, I think they realized that they couldn't put it on his waist because that piece of plastic's just not thick enough. But I actually like that. I think that looks pretty cool down there. So that's pretty much it for the robot mode. He does come packaged. You can actually pull this completely out. And if you want, technically, he could hold this as a gun. I think it's the same size peg. Let me see. It's a little tight, so maybe don't try that. I don't want to stretch out the figure. It doesn't fit in there easily. But as you can see, you can take this off. It came packaged like this with the guns down. And all you have to do is take it out, rotate this 180 degrees, and then peg it back in. Whoops, now he's falling out. He's falling out on me. Am I doing this wrong? No, I'm doing it right, I think. There we go. So yeah, I love the look of the two cannons on the back. I think that looks really sharp. So yeah, overall, I really like the robot mode. Like I said, it's a little weird that he's an Autobot instead of a Decepticon, but I think he will eventually be a Decepticon with a slightly different paint scheme. So I could understand if you wanted to wait for the actual bludgeon. But in the meantime, I love the color scheme on this guy, and it's a really cool mold. We'll get into the transformation. Alright, so I've gone ahead and just taken the sword out. That'll come back into play later. First things first, this is a Robots in Disguise mold where you don't fold the hands into the forearms. So hooray, slight variety. You're going to take the head and rotate it 180 degrees, and then you're going to open up the chest so that it kind of unhooks this tab from this slot hole right here, and then you can push it down. And then you can close it. Oh no, I'm sorry, you leave that open. You're going to take the hands and you're going to rotate them. Which way am I doing? No, I'm sorry. Rotate them 90 degrees towards the outside, and then you're going to just rotate them up, and you can see it's going to be flush. And you can see there's a little tab here and a little tab here. And what you're going to do is rotate this 90 degrees that way, and then these are going to close together, and you can kind of use the ball joint too and that ratchet to click them together, and then those two tabs I showed you earlier are going to peg these two into each other, and this is going to form the whole back of the turret. And then you just rotate these down, and there's pretty much your whole tank turret. Now, yeah, you do have robot fists just hanging off the back. That's kind of a bummer. If you really wanted, you could like peg the sword into one of them. Actually, no, I guess you can't. That's a little bit thicker than... Yeah, so never mind. You can't do that. You just have these fists on the back. There's not really anything you can do. At this point, you're going to just swing the legs up. And you can see these big tabs here on the side of the cow catcher thing in the front. They're going to peg into these parts right here. These big tabs right here. So you're just going to rotate the legs on the knee hinges so that those peg in just like that. Then you're going to come around here, and the knee guards, these blue knee guards, will rotate inward. And then this whole piece will kind of accordion out. And then you're just going to rotate it to the front. Simple as that. Do the same on this side. Rotate that piece in. And then rotate that around. And there you go. And that's it. That is your tank mode. You can see now where the kind of big cow catcher thing comes into play. It does look good in the front of the tank mode. I like that a lot. And I do like the double barrel cannon. Now his waist swivel now acts to move the turret completely around. So he can spin. You can take the sword, and this hole was on the back of his head that you pushed in. If you want to, you can put the sword forward like this. If you want to have the blade pointing back, it's completely your decision. I kind of like it with what the instructions show with the blade facing forward, just because then the silver's kind of all together. But again, it's completely your decision. It's a good looking tank mode. Very similar to the Megatronus tank. Transforms very similarly. Yeah, color scheme's good. Tank mode looks good. I love the double barrel. Like I said, this thing was kind of goofy looking hanging off of his butt, but in this mode it looks fantastic. I like it a lot. So yeah, really fun tank mode. Can't decide if I like this or the Megatronus use of the mold better. I would say they're probably tied. Megatronus was a good figure, but this guy's pretty good as well. The head sculpt just kind of throws me that he's an Autobot, but otherwise, it's still a good head sculpt. Just a little... doesn't feel like an Autobot. But otherwise, I love this toy. Color scheme looks good. Vehicle mode's good. Easy, simple transformation. So I've already started to kind of give my final thoughts on the toy, so I'll try not to rehash too much, but just a quick summary. I think it's a good reuse of the Megatronus mold. The color scheme looks great. I really like the transformation. I think that the Katana accessory he comes with looks really cool. I kind of really like this pose, and I like that I found that he can kind of store the sword on the side of his leg there. The only thing that caught me a little bit off guard was that the head sculpt seems a little bit more like a Decepticon than an Autobot, but that by no means makes this toy, you know, any less fun or excellent looking. So I highly recommend it. If you can find them, I definitely suggest picking them up. Yeah, I don't really have anything bad to say about them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at BlastWave from Transformers Robots in Disguise. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.